trying to film this and I'm right beside my AC unit, which is a window unit, because I live in a studio building, which is like less than 400 square feet. It's gonna get hot quick because it's like 90 degrees outside at fucking 6:45 in the afternoon, evening, whatever. So, welcome to the first video meeting for the Shelf Indulgence book club. Wow, I sound like a nerd. Really excited about this. For the month of July, we did primary read choice of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas and Meet Me in Another Life by Catriona Sylvie. I had previously read both of these books and I thought that would give me an advantage when it came to this, because I was like, okay, I can just go back and use this time to annotate them, and as it turns out, annotating takes way more time, at least as in-depth as I was wanting to do it. But yeah, so I fell behind. I didn't get through everything like I really wanted to, but I think I have plenty to do this meeting. So in the Discord server, I posted a this has notes on it, but I posted a 10 question like handout thing that was supposed to be the structure of this meeting, and this was supposed to be a live thread, but there was very little response in general in the book club Discord, at least as far as I knew. If everybody was reading, then great, and if not, then I understand, that's fine. But yeah, so the questions are 1 through 10. What were your initial impressions of the book? What was your favorite moment in the book? Who was your favorite character in the book, or the least favorite character? Who would you cast as the main characters in this story? Did you have a favorite line or quote? If so, why? If you could ask the author one question, what would it be? Did the book's plot and ending meet your expectations? Could the novel be improved? What are your suggestions? How does this book's title tie into the story? And how would you rate the book on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to use that list as the basis for both books. And the first book that I'm going to start off with is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Sorry. So when I read this book for the first time, I fucking loved it. So I had been on a little over a 15-year reading hiatus, slump. I really hadn't read a book in like a little over 15 and a half years, and I was so ashamed to admit that when I realized how long it had been, but it was since before I graduated high school. So I read two other books before I read A Court of Thorns, or before I found A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they were both like YA contemporary romance, and they were great, they were wonderful books, but I was just like, well, this was fun, and I'm glad that I've, you know, heard these stories now, but I don't know, I just, like, it didn't, like, pull me into the book. Like when I put the book down, I wasn't necessarily excited to pick it back up again. And then I stumbled upon the realm of fantasy, fantasy romance, fantasy sci-fi, that kind of stuff. And fantasy has always been a genre that just like grabs me wherever it can get its hands on me and pulls me right back into it, and I love it. And I think I'll always feel that way. I'm also really big on writing style, and I don't know all the proper words to critique Sarah J. Maas's writing style, but I think that she does such a wonderful job with imagery, with world building, with like character development, just all of the key features. And to me, it's really important to be able to like open to the first page, and by the end of the first page be really intrigued to the point where I really want to get to the second page. And I know that sounds menial, but it's really important to me. And so like on the first page you're introduced to Feyre being in like an icy forest and hunting, and you find out that it's to feed her family. Yeah, God, it's getting so hot in here. Anyway, so immediately I was able to like, you know, I felt like I was there with her. Like I felt like I was a little, you know, sparrow on Feyre's shoulder, and was just like there watching all these events unfold. So what were my initial impressions of the book? I wrote down, it reminded me of how it felt to escape in a well-built immersive world, and that's so true. Like, I've always really struggled with like reality, I guess, depression, anxiety, everything that, you know, that most people in, I guess, our generation now are plagued with. But I was really able to just, like, anytime I picked up this book, and as it turned out, any book in the entire series, was just really able to sink into it and forget anything else in my life that was going on, which was wonderful. What was your favorite moment in the book? I didn't realize this until I went back to start annotating. Like, I read the whole book. I felt that the book was really good at the end. To be the first, how do I say this? To be the first book in the series, I feel that at the end of this book, it came to a good close. Like, if you had no interest in reading further, then you're set. Like, it came to a good close and you're there and you're done, and like maybe you had some mixed feelings about how it ended, but you don't necessarily have to keep going to find out what happens, and you have a perfectly good story bundled into one book. But when I went back and was annotating, particularly in the first like couple of chapters, I was just like, wow, I really didn't think about this. But in hindsight, now that I know that the wolf that she killed was Andrus, the whole I think I don't even know the words to describe this. The fact that Andrus in wolf form was just like, he didn't provoke Farah, he was just hunting the deer that was, you know, caught in the crossfire, and the fact that he knew that he was about to be killed, much less by an ash arrow, for some girl who was hopefully gonna be the one that goes it. Like, it's all on such a thread. Like, everything rode on whether or not she was able to actually kill him. What if she just shot him and wounded him? What happens then? But he knew, and to me it's like, I can't imagine purposely giving myself a paper cut, much less like what. There's a lot of feelings that tie to this, but that was probably my favorite part, was looking back and realizing, like, when you find out that it was all set up because of Amarantha's curse. I think that it was really just a moment that kind of gave me chills, I guess. I'm not really exactly sure why, but just realizing that Andrus in that moment in the woods, when it was just, in my head, the way I remember that scene was like dead trees, the forest covered in ice and like snow, and every breath is like frosted, and it's quiet, and every footstep you can hear the crunch. And in that moment where it's just Farah and Andrus and this deer, he knew and she knew, and it's such a pivotal moment. Obviously it makes the whole book, but like, and it's a fictional story and I'm getting so worked up about it, but such a good turning point. Oh my god. And I would love to have, like, I wish that she would write something that would show us before, like before Amarantha's curse, I guess. Like, maybe a look at the spring court. I would somehow, some way, I kind of would like to know more about Andrus and like what he was, and like, did he have any interesting backstory or whatever. But number 3, who is your favorite character in the book and your least favorite character? I've read the whole series at this point, and Rhys is, like, later becomes a favorite character. I enjoyed his character all throughout any exposure that we got to him in this first book. And I mean, literally everything about him. I say everything about him. Everything that he did, everything that he was, that he represented in this book, I loved. I loved how he played everything. I loved how strategic and methodical he was. Later you find out how much was riding on him acting that way, and all of his decisions and his actions. So I loved Rhys. Feyre, obviously, I later in the series in A Court of Wings and Ruin, and in A Court of Wings and Ruin you get, which is the third book, you get kind of a taste of like different perspectives. So it swaps from like Feyre to Rhys, and it tells you like it tells you whose point of view you're reading from. I'm sitting right by a window, so there's like a family of squirrels feasting and they're kind of fighting over something in the grass. So that's what I keep looking at because there's mild warfare. But I really liked Feyre's perspective, her point of view. I like being in her head. I like watching it all unfold because I feel like she's, well, obviously she's the main character. She's in the middle of everything. In the Spring Court though, outside of like, I say outside of the main storyline, in the Spring Court, in the atmosphere that we're in this book, Lucien, I loved. I absolutely loved everything about his character. I loved his cockiness from the start. I loved how he was like, in some way, shape, or form, always challenging Feyre, whether it was like with snarky remarks or when he set her up to go capture the Suriel. The Suriel! Oh my god! I didn't write it down! The Suriel, hands down. After you finish, if you go on to read anything else in the series, the Suriel was the gossip queen. Love, hands down, one of the best characters. It's a sideline character. Oh my god, the Suriel. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, Lucien, he challenges Feyre with like, whether it's with wit or sarcasm, or when he sets her up to go trap the Suriel. Just all of it was so, like, he showed remorse after when she screamed when she was in that encounter with the Suriel and the Naga, I believe, or the Naga? Was that in this book? I read them all so fast, everything's blurring. I think the Naga, she's in the woods with the Suriel for some reason. And Lucien had mentioned that if he hears a scream, he'll come running because he would be on patrol or whatever. And later on, he admits that he hesitated just a moment before he went that way. And later on, he admits that and he shows remorse for it because he really likes Feyre. And I love their relationship, and throughout the series I love how their relationship develops into what it develops into. You'll have to read to know. And then Alice. I loved Alice. Like, she was such a strong background part. And like, she was there for Feyre when she needed her, and she was there when she didn't need her. And I felt really helped her find her footing in the Spring Court when she really felt like she was just flailing and trying to, you know, get a hold of whatever she could, like, just grasping at, you know, thin air, at straws, whatever. Loved Alice. Least favorite character by far is Tamlin. I thought, reading this whole book, I thought that I loved Tamlin. I thought he was great. I thought, oh my god, knight in shining armor, you know, he set her family up, he got him out of poverty, took care of all of her loose ends basically, and then what? You were under the mountain with Amarantha. Feyre fought her ass off, came back to save you, and your ass just what? Sat on a side throne by Amarantha and let this girl who you supposedly love, you're just gonna let her die? Amarantha's killing her at the end, and you're just, what? You're sitting there begging Amarantha to not kill her? Honey, she hates all of you. She's gonna rip Feyre's throat out because she guessed the answer to her riddle. The only one who did a damn thing about it was Rhys. And then when it was all over and done with, sure, you got to rip her throat out. That's fine. But who attacked her? Who attacked her? Rhys. Who fought for Feyre? Rhys. I can't. Like, and when you, okay, so Tamlin leaves Amarantha's side under the mountain and goes into this like back room. Farrah sees it, follows him. Are you kidding me? What you do in that room is choose to make out with her when you know it's gonna risk your life, her life, the lives of all the people involved in this stupid fucking curse. Are you kidding me? No. What? Like, no, anyway. Hate Tamlin. Come to hate Tamlin even fucking more in the rest of the series because he's just... He gets the nickname Tamlin the Tool. It's for a good reason. However, there are 3 books confirmed from the author that are still coming out in this series. 2 more novels and then a novella. And I would love to see Tamlin get a redemption arc, because right now he's not in a good spot. As of the end of the series as it is, he is not in the best of places mentally. So I still think he's a piece of shit, but I would love to see him find a happy ending, find love. He's like a whatever breed of dog. Extreme. He's like a dog. He's he's like most dogs. Some dogs are picky. Some dogs don't really care about anything except themselves. They're kind of like cats. However, I think that he's like a dog, and the fact that he loves Farrah and he wants to protect Farrah, and that's it. That's it. Like, that's it. Love, love, love. Protect, protect, protect. Love, protect, love, protect. Except when you were under the mountain and then you chose not to protect. You just wanted to get some love on the side because you just could not control yourself. When it really mattered the most that you should control yourself. However, whatever. Anyway, I don't like Tamlin. Who would you cast as the main characters in this story? I can't believe I can't believe I even put this question on this piece of paper, because I don't even want to see the show, or I don't want to see the book turned into a show. I don't want to see the series turned into a show. I think it's great as it is. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Will it garner more popularity and more traffic for book sales? You bet, probably so. But anyway, I don't know. I suck at that question in particular. I never know who I would want to see cast as a character. I can't. Like, I have like fan art specifically that I've seen that, and the concept of this blows my mind, that a character was described in black and white text on paper, and enough people thought about that character in the exact same way that when some of those fans who were graphic artists designed it, it's exactly, their drawing is exactly what I saw in my head. That's crazy. Hang on, I'll show you what I have so far. Hold on. So, fan arts, in terms, like, this is a depiction of the 3 Archeron sisters, Farrah, Nesta, and Elaine. So there's, and I feel what's so sick to me is that you can look at this, if you've read the book and you've like read the description of all the characters, you can look at this, something that came from someone else's mind, flowed through their hand onto paper or a screen and printed onto paper, and you know which sister is which. You know who's who. Farrah, Nesta, Elaine. Are you kidding? This is exactly how I saw them. Exactly. That's nuts to me. That's wild. Okay, so those 3. Tamlin, that's kind of printed out weird, but in his human form, I can't even begin to like grasp or wrap my head around any beast form described, except when you get to the end and it talks about Reese and like wings. I can see that, and then as you go further into the series, they go, like, she goes further into detail about the wing structure and like how it looks, and there's more detail, so you can see that a lot more clearly, I think, if you read with like, what the fuck is it called, you read and you see images, hallucinating while you look at paper. Ink marks printed on dead trees and hallucinating when you look at that. Anyway, Tamlin, this is exactly how I saw Tamlin in human form. These are things that I found on Pinterest. If I could link an artist to these, I would. But there was no art mark on them, so art mark, watermark, whatever, claim. There's a slight one on here. It's like something Wesson. I don't know. This came out in horrible quality, but Lucian, this is something I thought was great. So they had the masks strapped on their faces as part of the curse. Like the mask could never come off. The first thing I thought about with that was skincare. Like, what is happening to your skin under there? I understand this is a magical world. Real problems don't exist. They probably don't have pores. Whatever. Lucian. Again, this is horrible quality, but maybe not. I can't tell. So he's supposed to have like a mechanical eye, and I think this is both human eyes. I didn't notice that until just this moment, but there's a fox mask and like kind of golden, like auburn colored hair, and I don't know, this is just kind of how I pictured Lucian. Maybe a little bit older, but I feel like this captures like a snarky personality and kind of witty, and you know, just, yeah, I don't know, that's kind of how I saw Lucian. And then Rhys at the end, this is how I saw Rhys. So, and then there's like violet eyes, and yeah. But this is exactly how I saw him. And so I don't know a human, celebrity or not, I don't know a human that looks like that. I don't know. So I don't know who the fuck I would cast, but that's exactly how I saw everybody. Number 5, did you have a favorite line or quote? If so, why? I wrote down page 413, and this is toward the end of the book. And I believe it was Rhys talking to Feyre. So yeah, this is at the end where she's asleep. It's all after the mountain. They're all out from under the mountain, and she is asleep, and then she feels a tug like down their bargain bond, and she follows it onto like this balcony sort of thing out the side of the mountain, and Rhys is there, and they're talking, and he basically said that he just wanted to say goodbye, and he says, you know, just to say goodbye, you know, before Tamlin whisks you away forever. And she says, not forever, don't you get a week every month? And then she like wiggles her fingers, and he's like, oh yeah, how could I forget? And then it says, I stared at the nose I'd seen bleeding only hours before, the violet eyes that had been so filled with pain. Why? I asked. He knew what I meant and shrugged. Because when legends get written, I didn't want to be remembered for standing on the sidelines. I want my future offspring to know that I was there and that I fought against her at the end, even if I couldn't do anything useful. I blinked, this time not at the brightness of the sun. And this is the part. Because, he went on, his eyes locked with mine, I didn't want you to fight alone or die alone. And that just shows you, okay. If you heard anything about this book, you find out later on that Rhys and Feyre are a thing. They are an item. I won't go into depth about how much of an item they are. You can find out, or you can search it, whatever. But that just like, she has no clue. He literally would have died for her. He's the one that rallied everyone, like all the High Lords, to come and like bring her back and have her made. Not Tamlin, not anybody else. Like, he went to the ends of the earth for this girl. Like, and I just feel like that, like, I didn't want you to fight alone or die alone, just shows how much he really, really cared about her from the very start. And like, I mean, obviously, when you know him, you know that like, he did everything he did in her trials under the mountain because he loved her and cares so much about her. But in the moment, it kind of seems like it's kind of painted like he's doing it for the well-being of himself and, you know, the people under the mountain or whatever. Like it's a strategic play to like get in her head and help her achieve these things. Not because he cares about her, but because she's a tool for him. So, favorite quote in the book. if you could ask the author one question, what would it be? When I finished this book, my question was, why did he stumble at the end of that? Why did Reese stumble at the end of that interaction right before they said goodbye, you know, or when he went to say goodbye? Why did he stumble, and why did he look so shocked? You find out in the second book, which is just wonderful. But that's what I would ask when I finish this book. Did the book's plot and ending meet your expectations? Yes. I never go into a book with expectation. I hear opinions and reviews about books before I read them, and I'm like, okay, great. It's gonna be a great book, gonna be a great read, I'm gonna have a great time. I never expect, like, when I read something, I have like an inkling, like, okay, that's foreshadowing to something. No idea what it could be. I don't know what it is. When I'm reading someone else's creative work, I can never guess where the fuck it's going. Like when people are like, oh, I predicted that, or could have seen that coming from a mile away. Not me. But yeah, I felt that, again, and I said this whenever I recommended it in the Discord, that I felt that it's a very conclusive book. If you read it and you were just like, didn't really like it, fine, stop there. It's stopped. It's done. You can be done with it right there and not really wonder about much more beyond that. If you loved it, then it's great, and you're just like, oh, I love these characters, I'm drawn in, let me get, you know, right into the second book. So yes, I thought it was very conclusive and just very well written and compact, and it's not too thick to where it, you know, wards you off. It's not too thin to where it's like chopped up and there's not enough information, not enough plot development, character development, world building, whatever. Number 8, could the novel be improved? What are your suggestions? I suck at this too. I think it was great like it was. If I changed anything about it, I'd fuck it all up. I think it's great. What are your suggestions? The only thing that I could suggest would be, like, I would love to see, so we meet Reese at, what was that called? Oh my god, what was the name of that ceremony that night where she was supposed to stay in the house and she went and, like, Tamlin fucked some random girl to send magic back into the land or whatever. Anyway, that's where we first meet him. I would love to know, the end of this book from his perspective. So when they go under the mountain, I would love to find him in his court. So he's the High Lord of the Night Court. I would love to find, or I would love to see something, whether it's a novella or something that starts from like a week before the 50 years is up and they go under the mountain with Amarantha. From his perspective, like, I would love to see him, like, I don't know, I want to see his interactions with Feyre under the mountain from his perspective. And he touches on it very, very, very lightly in a conversation with Feyre later in another book. But I would love to see, like, just raw, open, no, you know, no candy coating to make anyone feel better. I would love to see his perspective of the events under the mountain, his thoughts about Feyre. He made the bargain with her to heal her arm because he, you know, he cared for her, not as like a tool. But I would love to know what he thought when he found her and her arm was fucking destroyed. Like, you know, he had to be hurting if he cares about her that much and he sees her in pain. I don't know. Anyway, would love to be in his head for those things. Number 9, how does the book's title tie into the story? A Court of Thorns and Roses. Literally all I can think is, like, the courts in Prythian. Like, Prythian is made up of these different courts, like, you know, day, dawn, night, autumn, spring, summer. Oh my god, what else is there? Oh, okay, hold on. Literally, this is the last book in the series right now, A Court of Silver Flames. The map in the front of this book is just chef's kiss, y'all. It's wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It's beautiful. I love it. Anyway, night court, day court, dawn court, winter court, summer court, autumn court, spring court. Did I name them all? That's it? Why do I feel like there were more? Whatever. But yeah, so courts, and then this entire book is based in the spring court and then Under the Mountain, but in the spring court primarily. So spring court, spring, a rose bush has roses and thorns. Yeah, that's as far as I got on that. It was the main setting, set in the spring court with roses growing all over the fucking place. So, and then how would you rate this book on a scale of 1 to 10? I am bad at rating books on a scale of 1 to 10. As soon as I finish any book like that, I'm a sucker for the last line of a book. If it ties in any way whatsoever, no matter how little or how much, love it. I love it. It's wonderful. And I finished, you know, I finished this book and I was like, oh, 10 out of 10. I mean, I still think this book is like, I mean, it's, for what it is, I think it's probably, I could say an 8 out of 10. I don't know. I suck at this. So I would say an 8 out of 10. I don't know what could make it a 10 out of 10. Just in hindsight, I don't like Tamlin. So I don't know, I guess just disdain for him makes it an 8 out of 10. So anyway, that was my my responses to the discussion questions to A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, the primary read for the month of July 2021 in the Shelf Indulgence Book Club. So yeah, I'm gonna post this video and then I'm gonna record, I gotta charge my camera battery, and then I'm gonna record the my responses to the same questions for Meet Me in Another Life by Catriona Sylvie. And I don't know if anyone read this. I don't know who read what because of lack of response or whatever, but, or if anyone read anything, that's fine too. But anyway, if you did, if you wanted to know anyone else's opinion on it, Meet Me in Another Life, Catriona Sylvie is coming up next. So